It's a common idea in the music industry that you have to choose between making what you love and making money. But is that actually true? I get paid to make music that I truly love. And today I want to tell you how I did that and how you might be able to do that too. If we haven't met before, hi, I'm Harley. I'm a Billboard #1 cellist and string producer. A few years ago, I was still stuck in the cycle of making music that no one cared about. Burned out, broke, and wondering if I should quit for good. The turning point? I sold out, but not in the way you might think. Selling out not only made me more successful, but also happier and more fulfilled as an artist. Let me explain. Let's rewind to 2020. Like a lot of musicians, lockdown gave me endless time to make music. On the surface, that was the dream, but something felt off. I was making the music that I wanted to be making for myself, but I was getting more and more anxious and depressed about it. I kept saying that the only thing that mattered was making the art, but deep down I could tell that I wanted something more. In hindsight, I realized I was stuck in what I'll call the cycle of the unfulfilled artist. Make music just for me, push people to listen, get frustrated when they don't care, channel that frustration back into making more music. Repeat, repeat, repeat. I felt like I was screaming into the void and it was getting exhausting. Eventually, I had to ask myself a really hard question. Am I making music for the love of it, or do I want to be getting paid for this? And I want to emphasize something right here. Both answers are totally valid. I even made a whole video about how important I think it is to make art for its own sake. You can watch that right over here. But for me, I realized that I wanted to get paid. And this is the moment that feels like the end of the world for a lot of artists. Like you either get to sell your soul for a profit or hold out against the system to protect your art at all costs. But I think that binary is bullshit, and here's why. Here's what no one tells you. Selling out doesn't mean giving up your artistry. It means learning to serve an existing need through your craft. Yeah, that might mean that sometimes you're working on something that doesn't light you up creatively, but it doesn't always have to. And it took me a long time to figure out how to strike that balance. I started by trying to produce songs for other artists, but I kept getting turned down. Call after call, I would get the politest rejections that would kill a little piece of me every time. But over time, I started to notice a pattern in those rejections. People weren't hiring me as a producer, but they kept asking if I would record cello for them. And every time I got to add strings to a project, I realized that something felt different about it. I wasn't just sprinkling something pretty on someone else's song. I was getting to help shape emotion and tell their story. Even though the music wasn't mine, it felt so personal. It felt so right. The real turning point for me was working on a song called To Never Be Known with Thomas Levine. He was the first artist that I really looked up to and who felt out of my league, who hired me to do my thing before I really knew what my thing was. I created a string arrangement that helped shape the arc of the song. It started out small and intimate and grew into this big, rhythmic, soaring thing that was beyond anything I had ever done before. Recording it was exhilarating. It was one of the most creatively fulfilling things I had ever done up till that point. And when Thomas heard it for the first time, he responded immediately and said it was exactly what he was looking for. And hearing the finished track come back with my recordings on it gave me something that I had not felt in a long time. Real satisfaction. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't just a side hustle that I had found. This was my calling. This project helped me realize that I show up best when I'm helping other artists emotionally deepen their music. I realize now that I feel most expressive as a collaborator, as a string producer, not as the artist, not as the star of the show. And I'm okay with that. Actually, I love that. I get to be one tiny part of the process and work with artists, writers, producers, engineers that are so far beyond my capabilities in those areas. I stopped chasing the spotlight and started helping others shine. And I'm getting paid to do it. Remember that cycle I mentioned earlier? Let's get back to that for a second. I used to be stuck in the cycle of the unfulfilled artist. Make music for me, push people to listen, feel frustrated about it, channel that frustration into more music. But finding a role in the music industry that I was able to become good enough at to get paid for helped me break that cycle and find something a lot healthier. Make music that serves someone else, watch it resonate, feel valued and get paid, and channel that joy into the next project. Serving others through music brought me both personal and artistic growth, and a new kind of confidence. As much as it's unpopular to say, most of us don't just want appreciation. We want to be paid for our work. Whether we like it or not, money is often a stand-in for value in our society. When we aren't compensated, it can feel like what we're doing doesn't matter. So let's drop the idea that it's one or the other. Passion or money is a false choice. Stepping back from making my own music felt like a huge loss at first. but it made space for me to be able to find the thing that brings me artistic joy, fulfillment, and pays me at the same time. So if you're feeling stuck in your music, ask yourself, do you want this to be a hobby or a career? If it's a hobby, that's beautiful. Go watch my video about the talent myth. It might speak more to where you are right now. But if you want it to be a career, ask yourself, what skills do I have that others might value? And am I willing to build a business around my craft? If you decide to go for it, start small. Lean into what you're good at. Ask for feedback. Listen to feedback. Success comes slowly, but you're probably closer than you think. Give this video a like, share it with a musician who might be able to relate, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one. If you have a similar story to the one I just shared, or if you're still trying to figure this out yourself, let me know in the comments. I read every single one of them. I'll see you in the next video.
Okay, next up is Harley. Alright, Harley, show us frightened. Alright, now seduce us. Yikes. Okay, how about inquisitive?
I feel so stupid doing this.
Yeah, you look so stupid. What are you looking at? Alright, next.
Yeah, I feel like a dumbass.